Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and greetings of peace. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. Today I would like to continue on some reflections on the process of Hajj. And as I said, nations have annual events of military parades, rose parades in America, and so on and so forth. Our parade is a very simple parade. It is the parade of a large number of those who believe in the oneness of God, in all the prophets of God, in the angels of God, in the books of God. And it is a parade of all of them, 2 to 2.5, 3 million every year, going, performing in the same standardized way, without rehearsals, with the most humble means available to them, without a difference between a tall or a short, a strong or a weak, a rich or a poor, an affluent or a less affluent. And that is the process of Hajj. In Hajj, we find that it goes into a very interesting sequence. The first one is the embarking on making a decision to perform Hajj, or what we call the niyat or the intention. Now, in order to qualify to perform Hajj, you have to completely bury the past. And by this I mean that you have to get ready to completely fix all of your relations before you go for Hajj. By this we mean you have to pay all your debts. You have to fix all of your relations. If you had some fall down, a quarrel, a disagreement, you're not talking to somebody, you need to fix that relationship. You need to bury the past as if you are going to be born again, afresh and new. And you remember, when you were born as a little infant, you were wrapped with a simple white clothing. That is exactly what you will do in the next step, and that is at the time which is called miqat. And these are the boundaries surrounding the Kaaba. And if you're going by aeroplane or by ship, the captain of the aeroplane or the ship would tell you this is the time of miqat. And everybody would go out and bathe and cleanse himself physically and prepare himself spiritually and start wearing the standardized, simple clothing that doesn't even have to be sewed if it is a man, or a simple clothing for a woman that is very, very humble, such that it does not differentiate between a rich and a poor. And then you would say, Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik. Almighty God, I am rushing, coming to you, responding to your call. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. I'm coming to you, responding to your call. And I announce to the whole world and to myself personally that there is no associate with you, that you are the only one that I pay allegiance to, that you are the only one who I pray to and believe in. Innal hamda laka wa ni'mata wal mulk. We praise you, Almighty God, and we thank you. And all the blessings and all the kingdom, the ruling of this world and this universe is to you. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. I'm calling on myself to rush to respond to you. There is no associate to you, Almighty God. And this is the second step, which we call the miqat. We talked about the dress. And the fascinating thing about the dress is that, you know, when we live in this life, we go and buy the best ties, the best suits, the best shoes, the best socks, the best thing, this and that, so we can impress ourselves first when we look at the mirror, and then impress our associates when we go and meet them. Almighty God, in this process of Hajj, doesn't want all of these facades. He wants you. He wants your inners. He Almighty wants you to come in with all of your feelings, so you can fulfill that most important pillar of Islam, so you can become an important member of this club, the club that changed from being aimless to being full of aim, the aim of serving God. And then you go and you do 2 rak'ahs at the Maqam Ibrahimi, remembering the story of Prophet Abraham, and we went through this in the beginning of this series. And then you do tawaf, which is rotation around the Kaaba. And when you rotate around the Kaaba, it's amazing, because I went through this myself. You cannot penetrate the rotating lines, because if you do, you will be crushed. You got to ease yourself slowly in this rotating mass of people. And if you do this, then you will be welcomed in the mass. And that's what happens with people who want to abruptly change things. They get crushed in the process, and they create havoc and turbulence. But if you go in and ease yourself through, you become a member of this mass, this unity of all Muslims. And you look around you, the black mixes with the white, and the short mixes with the tall, and the heavy mixes with the skinny, and it all becomes one mass, one unit, one entity that signifies the unity, the oneness of this purpose, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we rotate around the Kaaba 7 times, and we make a dua to Almighty God, and we try to touch the black stone to remember the story of the black stone and the origin of the black stone. And some of us want to kiss the black stone. In some cases, if you cannot, it is not too much to just look at the black stone and make a dua, and then start another tawaf around the Kaaba. Rotating around the Kaaba is like rotating around a center of influence, reminding us that this is the center of influence, the first house ever built by God to worship Him by Abraham and Ismail. All of us like, of course, to be rotating around localized centers of influence, the rich, the powerful, the affluent, so we can benefit from it. But it's a reminder that the source of influence is Almighty God, and then become part of the Ummah. And then we go to the next step, and that is the roaming between the two mounds, the mounds, or the hilly mounds of Safa and Marwa, trying to recreate the same process that Hajar, the wife of Prophet Abraham, went through, trying to find food and trying to find water for her child, newborn child Ishmael. Not only this, but in a certain section of that distance, we run the same way that she used to run. And then we end up with drinking from the well of Zamzam, the same well that was there thousands of years ago. And then we go to the Mount of Arafah, and we prepare for the next steps. On the Mount of Arafah, we stand up with all the Muslims from all over the world, remembering that day, the day when Muslims celebrate their standing up on that mount. And then we go down and start collecting the pebbles that will be used later on to throw at Satan. Of course, some people take it literally that this little statue standing up there without a certain configuration, symbol of Satan, is Satan. That is not Satan. It is a symbolic presence that will remind you deep in your heart that it is our duty as Muslims, men, women, young children and old people, to always stand in a continuous struggle against Satan, to make sure that the temptations and the seduction and the invitations that Satan keeps inviting us to do are against the will and the way of Allah. We know that Satan promised Almighty God to sit in our way, to make sure that we will be tempted all the time, to sort out those who are sincere in their effort, in their belief, in their commitment to God, and those who are not. In Hajj, we also remember the sacrifice of Prophet Ibrahim. You know, Prophet Ibrahim was becoming an old man, and he always wanted to have a son, and after a long time he had Ismail. And after building and propagating and getting ready, God shows him in the vision that he has got to slaughter his son. Now Ibrahim, the prophet, could have grabbed his son and said, Ishmael, I'm going to slaughter you because God ordered me to do so. And you are my property. He didn't do so. He took the permission of his son, Ishmael. And his son, the good Muslim believer, responded by saying, Ya abati fa'al ma tu'mar. My father, do what you were ordered to do. Insha'Allah, you will find me amongst those who follow the orders. And then they went by the Mount Arafah. And just about to slaughter him, God sends him the sacrifice. And again to recreate and to remember this business of sacrifice, Muslims sacrifice a lamb for Almighty God to remember what happened on that day. I sure hope and pray that we all enjoy this experience of Hajj, that we all prepare for Hajj from today by saving for Hajj. The fascinating system they have in Malaysia and Indonesia and Brunei is something called Tabung Hajj, where they save for Hajj for their children from a young age, such that at the age of 20 or 21 or 22, when they are just about to get married, they will have the cost to cover Hajj, and they perform Hajj. We hope that you will save for Hajj, and we hope that you make room for other brothers and sisters who have not made Hajj. So those of us who are excessive in doing Hajj, by doing Hajj 3 times, 4 times and 5 times, please think of others and make room for others so they can enjoy the experience, so they can enjoy being a member of the club with aim instead of being aimless. May God bless you. Accept your dedication and commitment to Him. May God bless your families, your children and grandchildren, your parents and your grandparents, and may God forgive those who died before us and accept them in paradise, and make the happy days always with you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Yahya Abdul Rahman wishing you the best.